Off Topic is back. Let's see what we got today on today's Daily Dose of Creativity. Today I had to work this job. Been doing art installation, art handling, art prep since 2019. I'll say since 2019, but really, I did it for myself, but I've been getting paid to do it as a job since 2019. And at some point, I began to understand it as as an art. So it makes a point to the name of the company, Level 1 Art Installation. Is it the art of art? No. In my head, I was thinking there's the art. There's a tagline. I should look it up. I feel like it has something to do with the art of art installation. Anyway, small company, 3 of us that work for the company, including the owner. And I predicted that this will be one of the topics that I'll bring up on my daily dose of creativity. I gotta turn this car off. So, mostly, and many times the job is just show up, do the job. Sometimes do a little bit of curation, trying to help the client determine if the artwork that they want installed looks the best in those locations. It can range from somebody who's super prepared, knows exactly where they want everything, and we stick to that, or someone who has the work, has an idea of where they want it to go, at least the wall they want it to go on, but no idea of the height, or if they have a few pieces where they want things to go. I'd say typically they at least know what wall most of the artwork that's being installed is going on, and then the rest is trying to figure the rest of that out. So how did I get creative today within that? I'll say with the clients that we last worked with, there was a little bit of freedoms of placement. It was we worked with the clients a lot actually. They had artwork where they wanted to go, but then they kind of made a lot of decisions on the spot, which then put us in a position of assisting them in selecting the location that the art should go. So as they put it by a wall or consider the location, giving them our professional opinion on whether something looked good or not, and then giving an opinion on height of the artwork, which can be unique and interesting when you have, let's say, a couple where the husband's really tall, the wife's a little bit shorter, or I'll say the wife is average short, because their point of view is so vastly different that how they view the artwork is going to change completely from each other, especially when it comes to mirrors. So a tall person more than likely is always going to be able to see themselves, but if the mirror's hung low, then it's possible that their head gets cut off if you hang it too low, because the person that's shorter is going to want the artwork so they can see their body, or see the mirrors at a height that they can see their body or more of their body. So you run into that issue a lot. And then there's the considerations of how the artwork is hung. We have some kind of standards that our company will implement when it comes to installing art and what hardware we use. But then there's also what happens when you show up on the job. So there's a bit of being flexible that gets tied into the creativity of the job. I'm trying to think of, for some reason I'm forgetting the very first job that we did, and I'm only remembering the second job. I think the first job was really just one thing that the 2 of us showed up. Could have been a mirror. I don't know. I'm just I'm remembering the location. It was a few pieces. Okay, a few pieces. When we got there, they already immediately had swapped 2 locations, and then we determined that wasn't going to work because of there was an outlet in the way, so the artwork would have covered the outlet or the light switch, which it was a light switch that's going to be used, so we had to switch it back to how it was originally set up, and then set the height that the artwork was going to be hung at. And pretty quick decisions on that one, kind of got in and out, good job there. And then we went to another client's house and did moved a piece that was going to another location and rearranged some other stuff. So interesting things. And then I'll say, like, leaving out from the last job, we were far out in like the East County, San Diego, mountains, hot, dry area, maybe a lake, golf course, that type of stuff, gated. And the views out there are always really inspiring. I think I still enjoy an ocean view over a mountain view, but it's really nice to check the mountain views when we get the opportunity. So how did that come out? Oh, I'll throw in, I took a couple of videos of that area as we were leaving that area, so those will be tied in here as I talked about it. But those things inspire me creatively. Just seeing them, like when I see rocks, I think of just like, I'm always looking at cast shadows. I'll say that's like my number one creative inspiration when looking out at things, is what kind of shadow play is happening and where those like stark contrasts happening, which is, I think, inspired me to work in a way that is very like angular, because angled or very hard angled shapes or geometric shapes, your squares, your rectangles, or I'll say if you're thinking as far as the forms of them, your what's the word I'm thinking about? Cubes. That's, so like if you're thinking about like a cube, very hard edges, and so as light covers or hits one surface, you're going to see a drastic value change on the next surface, and typically you're only going to see 3 dimensions of that shape at a time. So in those 3 angles or those 3 shapes, you're going to have values that you can very distinctly see, whereas on a curved surface you're going to get gradations. So my work, maybe because of the simplicity of it and creating like value contrast, or maybe just the intrigue from strong contrast in figurative works and things of that nature, I find myself more inspired by angular imagery. So things like a sunny day where there's a rock formation, I'm looking at where those strong contrasts are, almost as if you would like to blur your vision and to try and identify just those 2 values. So those are the types of things that I find interest. And today was just like a really nice sunny day out there, even though it was really hot. The level of brightness and just like, you'll see it in the video, it captures just like the vibrancy of the day, like really blue skies, really green greens, and that just like pulled to me. And I have this kind of outlook on, say, what would I say? There are people from the African diaspora, people from warmer climates tend to typically have an affinity to bright, vibrant colors. So if you're looking at the continent of Africa, you're looking at much of Middle South America, those places along the equator or closer to the equator have very warm climates. And so in like the Amazons, you get those very colorful like birds and things of that nature, whereas in like Europe or Canada, these northern countries, or very southern countries, it's much more like drab in colors, grays, whites, very neutral tones. I remember traveling to England and realizing how like overcast it is all the time, and how that can affect your like mindset when you're someone from a warmer climate. And I think it's intuitive, it's ingrained in our nature, who we are and where we are as a people. I remember like 2 coworkers I have, clearly of European descent, have an affinity for overcast gray days, and they're both born and raised in San Diego. And the most of that we get here is like a gloomy May and June in the mornings, and then we get a lot of the morning mist, fog, what do we call it? What is it called? What comes in the mornings? Whatever. It's the morning fog. It's right there. It's the tip of my tongue. I'll figure it out and you'll see the word pop up. But we get that in the mornings a lot, which really, like, when I moved here, like, I couldn't believe that it existed. You know, that the world could. I don't know. It felt like another, planet almost, because it felt like as opposed to looking up at the sky and seeing the clouds, there was just a band of clouds right on top of like the ocean, and then it was blue skies, and it's just like, what is this space in between? Like, it took my mind a long time to really like comprehend what I was looking at. Wow, yeah, this is actually working out well to me as far as like my original idea of off topic. It's happening right now. Was like, start with an idea, art related or whatever, and just see where the conversation takes me, because this is how I think. I will talk to myself just like this plenty of times, whether it's just in my head or out loud, and find myself just like contemplating these ideas, whether they're art related and they are related, or how they connect to other disciplines or other experiences, socioeconomic, whatever, and see where it goes. And so this is where we are. References a song lyric of mine. And that's where we'll kick it off. That's where we'll end this off right here. I'm just getting home from work, and I got some more school work to do after this, and I still got to go for a run today because July is not over, and I'm doing a 31-day run challenge the month of July, and I got a full face of sweat now, whether it's showing up on camera or not. So that's what we're gonna go with. We cool. That was today's dose of creativity. Peace.